Talking now about the particle in Arabic, called harf, its plural is huruf, meaning particles. This is the last of the three categories of words in Arabic. The first and second, as detailed in a previous video, were nouns and verbs. In Arabic, a particle is a word that can have a grammatical function but is distinct from other categories of ism and fi'l. In fact, the only sign that a word is a harf is it being devoid of the signs associated with nouns and verbs. There are a few important notes for harf. Firstly, a harf has no inherent meaning. Rather, its meaning is dependent on the words it's connected to. We will try to translate them idiomatically into English rather than sticking with a single meaning, as this will not always fit. For example, in the following sentence, Zaydun fil bayt, our harf is fi, and in English we translate this to Zayd is in the house. However, in the next sentence, tafakkartu fid dars, again our harf is fi, but we translate this as I thought about the lesson. And finally, tasaddaqa fi yawm al-jum'ah, again our harf is fi, but we would translate this as he gave charity on Friday. So it's important to note that a harf will not have a single and set meaning. We can see that the way the harf fi in these sentences is translated differently depending on the context of the sentence. The second point to note is that a harf is not linked to a specific time frame or tense, as that characteristic is possessed solely by verbs in Arabic. And thirdly, the huruf can be used to express a number of different things in Arabic. In the previous examples, we saw how the word fi was used as a preposition, but some huruf can express other things as well. For example, the ma in ma hadha expresses a question. What is this? The waw in wallahi expresses an oath, by Allah. The li in liyu'min expresses a command, he should believe. And the la in la yafhamu expresses a negation, he does not understand. There are two types of harf. The first is called amil, which comes from the verb amila, meaning to act or to work, and grammatically it means to govern another word. So the harf amil is a governing particle, which means these particles will have an effect on the case of the words that follow them. For example, the default of this word, al-masjid, is that it ends in a dhamma, al-masjidu. However, if it's put into a sentence following the word fi, for example, which is a harf amil, the case will change, and that's reflected by the change in the final haraka. So instead of saying al-masjidu, after fi, we'll say fil masjidi. So huwa fil masjidi means he is in the mosque. The second type is called harf ghayr amil, and this is a non-governing particle. These particles will not have an effect on the case of the words that follow them. Some of the most common examples of harf ghayr amil are wa, which means and fa, which can sometimes be translated as so. We'll talk more about the different types of huruf in a future video, inshallah.